But what I have found, which is very interesting, and I tell people stories about this, real factual cases, that I've used essences on animals, and I've used essences on children, and and children who are non-verbal, and the parents and the owners of the animals have been able to say, oh, I noticed a difference.
Hello everyone, I'm Giada, School of Shamanism. Welcome to my season Walking in Between Worlds, and today I've got the pleasure to be here with a very beautiful soul, Maria Doherty. And of course I would love to ask her to introduce herself. We've been knowing each other for a few years.
Yeah.
Through her second or main job about flowers, as I always call her the Lady of Flowers. So she will let us know what she does and also what she used to do.
Okay, right. Okay. So thank you very much. Lovely to be here, Giada. So I suppose I would say that I am a therapist, first and foremost. I started my career 38 years ago. Well, actually 40 years ago.
Wow.
40, yeah, because I'm retired 2 years. I'm retired 2 years. So I worked for 38 years as an occupational therapist, and 36 of those years was with children with additional support needs. So that was my passion, working with children. And then it probably wasn't until I was in my early 40s that I got interested in complementary therapies. So first of all, it was Reiki, actually.
Oh.
I used to go to see a Reiki practitioner, and the reason I found out about her was at the time I had a very stressful job and it had a lot of responsibilities, and I had issues with my sleep. So I went for Reiki. And then through my Reiki master, she used to give me flower essences. So that's how I found out about flower and vibrational essences. So I then went on to become, do my level 1, and then years later, level 2, level 3 to become a Reiki master. And then I also did some education in essences. So I started off with the batch flowers, or the Bach. Some people call it Bach, some people call it batch. So I did qualifications in that back in 2006, 2007. So I did that for a few years, and I was quite interested in how they help with the mental and emotional and spiritual balance. And then a number of years later, I think it was about 2014, I found out about another lady who was teaching a diploma in flower and vibrational essences. And I ended up doing that over 2 years. So that introduced me to a much wider range of essences. So as well as your flower essences, I found out about crystal essences, environmental essences, animal essences, lots and lots of different types of essences. And through that diploma, I learned about, I think it was 12 different ranges of essences, including the batch. We did batch as well. So it opened up things for me to know that there were other ranges out there. Although I always say the batch is the core, is the foundation, There are lots of other ones now, maybe that are dealing with more modern issues, shall we say, of the 21st century. Because Dr. Batch he made his essences in the 1930s. And while they're still relevant, and they absolutely are, and I still use them, and my clients still use them, there's a lot more other essences now that we can
Life was much easier.
Yes, it was. It was. Yeah.
Yeah, and nowadays she really has lots of essences, lots.
I do. Yes.
I just finished a session with her, and it's always amazing. It's always so accurate, opening your mind, your heart, your vision to another entirely different world.
Yes, and I think that's where I was very fortunate to meet such a wonderful teacher for the diploma, because it was bringing in the intuition side of essences, but also the kind of more logical kind of, so it's your right brain, left brain, being able to do both, because you had to learn about what the essences, the qualities of each of the essences, and know about that. But also you had to develop your intuition as well. So it was not just factual and book learning, you also had to develop your intuitive skills. And I was very much, I'd come from the NHS. I worked as a therapist for all that time. So using my tuition didn't come maybe as naturally as it might come for some people. So I had to kind of, develop those skills, which of course we all can do. And then I was able to kind of combine both.
Yeah, exactly. Because in the question, walking in between the two worlds, the NHS, the National Health System we have in the UK, and the world of flowers, was it an easy walk? Not?
Well, I was very fortunate because I had a very open boss. My immediately supervisor was very open. And she was interested also in complementary therapies, and she had received some herself, and she'd received some flower essence consultations with me. And what she said was, well, Maria, that information on essences is out there in the world. There's websites, there's books, So of course you can tell the parents of the children, about them. You can signpost them about the essences. But of course I couldn't see them as clients, because that would that would be would not be ethical, while they were still on my caseload. So I was able to discuss essences and say, this is something that you might like to think about. I'm just giving the information. And at that time I just stuck to the batch essences because I thought it was the simplest and the easiest and ones that most people would be familiar with, not to get overwhelmed by them all. And I would direct them to the Healing Herbs website, which is Julian Bernard's website, who makes the essences by hand like Dr. Batch did back in the 1930s. And it's a beautiful website that's got lots of really good information for people who are starting out about the essences, and little audio clips and lots of beautiful pictures of the flowers. Because that was the thing about when I did my diploma, I learned about using the photos of the flowers or the photos of the crystals. So it wasn't just talking about, how this will bring you into balance, it wasn't just words. And people could then relate to the flower, the color of the flower, the shape of the flower, all of that. And of course, I found children were so open to it. They're the most open of all. So they were very good at, knowing what essence they needed.
Yes, because we know the answer is always in our heart.
Yes.
But many times there is this lack of confidence that we think we don't trust our inner answer, and we need the external validation of that.
Yes, exactly. It's like the body knows, the heart knows.
Yeah, exactly. And what would be an advice that you could give to people in order to trust themselves more?
To do with what their body needs. I suppose it's just tuning in and just being able to get that still space within, and what is my body telling me type thing.
And as a practical, from the practical point of view, would recommend people to place their hands on the body and feel what the body is saying to them, or people that, let's say, are 100% into the traditional medicine and not at all into the other world.
Yes. Well, so what would I recommend they do if they were coming to it from the first time?
Let's say they come from a world of traditional medicine, science, skeptical towards flowers.
Yeah. Well, I always say to people, unless try it, and then you will know. Try it, and just if you're open to trying it, then you will know. If you're resisting and you're saying it's a load of rubbish, well, then you're never going to be open to it. So you're never going to want to sort of try it. But what I have found, which is very interesting, and I tell people stories about this, real factual cases, that I've used essences on animals, and I've used essences on children, and and children who are non-verbal, and the parents and the owners of the animals have been able to say, oh, I noticed a difference, So, people say, oh, it's the placebo effect or whatever. But, the animals didn't know they were taking anything different.
Exactly.
And often the children, because if the children think they're taking medicine, they maybe don't want to take it. So maybe the parent might put the essence into some body lotion, rub it into their feet or something, or, do it that way, or put it into a bowl of water that's in the room, so that it's, they're not thinking, oh, it's something I have to put in my mouth and, ingest. So, so I think it's just be curious, I would say. And like I said, when I tried it with people who are not grown-up adults, we got results.
Yeah.
And the owners of the animals or the parents of the children said, oh, I have noticed a shift in how they are presenting, how my child is feeling. Maybe they're more confident or less fearful or less anxious, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, working on having nature in you, I mean, it can't do any harm at all.
Yes,
we are natural beings.
Yes, exactly. And the beautiful thing about flower and vibrational essences is it doesn't interfere with anything else the person might be doing. So if they're taking orthodox medication, it's perfectly okay to take the essences with them. It's not going to interfere with the medication. So that's a really important thing to know as well. So it doesn't interfere. It's very safe.
Yeah.
Very safe. Yeah. Very safe.
Exactly.
Yeah. Modality.
Beautiful. And now you have the time to dedicate yourself to one of this world only.
Yes. So now I'm doing.
How does it feel?
It's so now I'm doing flower essences, and I do it not all the time, but as and when somebody approaches me, I do some group work, some work with a charity for carers. I do workshops with them, and then some one-to-one work either online or face to face. So yes, I enjoy doing it. I am retired, so I'm in a fortunate position that I can do it as and when it fits in with my agenda or my diary type thing. Yeah. So, and I have more time to maybe do more research about different.
You will have more essences.
Yes. And of course, I've made my own essences. I've made my own essences as well. And that was something I was taught in my diploma course, how to make essences from flowers or from gems. And you can even make an environmental essence with the energy of the beautiful environment you're in, whatever that might be. You can make an essence in that environment. So I've made environmental gem and flower essences. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And let's say if we need to have main differences in between the essences coming from animals and flowers, what would you say?
Yes. Well, first of all, to say the animal essences, no animals are harmed or used in any way. They are made shamanically through a ceremony, and the particular ones that I use are the wild earth animal essences. So he makes them through a ceremony that he goes out in nature, and then he calls in, say it is the lion or whatever. He kind of asks the lion if the lion's going to help. So the lion, you won't be surprised to know, is all about courage and bravery. The dove is about peace, so that's how he makes them. He makes them in Virginia. That's where he's from. The guy who makes Daniel Maple is his name. So, and I also have bird essences, which are from Patagonia. So the lady who makes them brings in the energy of the birds. So you're, again, doing it shamanically through ceremony. Whereas with the flowers, you're putting the flowers in the water when you're making them in the sunshine. With the gem essences, the crystals, what the best thing to do is put the gem into a small bowl or glass, and then immerse the glass into the spring water, and then have it in the sunshine or in the moonlight, because some gems, I should say, are water soluble. So you put it into a small glass, and you just leave it there for a few hours. And then you tune in to see what is the message of the flower. What is the message of the environment, or what is the message of the gem? How's it going to help? What are its healing properties? What is it good for doing in terms of emotional balance?
Yeah, that's extremely fascinating.
It is. And it is kind of interesting, because when I was doing my training, my teacher showed us pictures of this particular flower. It was a white flower. It was some sort of a blossom on a tree. And we all had to just not consult with each other, just tune in and think, well, what's this for? Just tune in. So we all did that, and then we all gave feedback, and it was really interesting. We had a common theme. So it was like we were all tuning into what the message of the flower was in slightly different ways, slightly different words, but it was basically the same theme, what the essence was for. I think it was to do with calm and, peace and feeling tranquil type thing. So, So it's that tuning in.
Which is exactly also the way of working that you are using nowadays, is tuning in, of course, when you're guiding client into an initial meditation, apart from the consultation at the beginning, which then clients always come with a specific intention, but then of course the intentions may evolve, change also throughout the session in the moment they are tuning in, and through the meditations there are colors coming in, other flowers coming in, and they are of course always the first element in which the body is answering in an instinctive way, which is different from the mind.
Yes. And Daniel Maple would say about the animals are probably closest in vibration. They're the highest vibrational, the animal essence, in terms of, you think of the human vibration, then you've got the flowers, the human, and then you've got the animals. So they would be higher in vibration maybe than the flowers or the crystals. So they all have slightly...
Why that?
I think it's because if you think of our soul, but we're kind of got a similar vibration in terms of our I guess it's to do with...
The question is also what they say in Buddhism, that because they, of course, in the part, they're not recognized as sentient beings, trees or whatever.
Yes.
And is that element, do they have or not a soul, which is a huge topic.
Yes.
So we could discuss about that, because of course animals do.
Yes.
We can reincarnate in animals.
Yeah.
What about flowers and trees? Do they have a soul or not? What do you think?
Well, they have. We talk about the diva of the flower, or the diva of the tree. So they have a vibration, they have an energy, absolutely. And they do, so you can tune into what that flower, the properties of that flower would be in terms of healing and bringing someone into balance. So, we probably don't call it soul, but we would call it the diva of the tree, or the diva of the flower, or the vibration of that flower. You're tuning in at that sort of level with the flowers. Yeah, and same with the gems, the crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which of course lots of people work with them.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the two easiest ways for having people working nowadays. But then of course there is much more that you still haven't explored, that definitely you will. Or you might too, but what would be the easiest way for people to approach this world, apart from coming to you and have a session, a full session with you?
Yes.
If they want just to be open, what would be the first easy step to do?
Well, like I said earlier, I think the Healing Herbs website is a really good place to start, because it's got all 38 of the batch essences, or Bach essences, plus Rescue Remedy. So the 38 essences, and they're the kind of foundation of essences. They were, in modern days, essences have been made for time immemorial, like, the native people from Australia, what used to be called Aboriginal people, Native American people, Australian people, and Native American people, they all used flowers and flower essences in their healing. But in modern times, if you like, it would have been Dr. Batch in the 1930s. Yeah, so I think starting with maybe the batch essences is a good place to start, because that particular website is a really good resource. Tells you all about the 38 essences, their healing qualities, shows you photos of them. There's a little audio that gives you a little bit more detail. So it's a nice place to learn and find out, and it's nicely structured and laid out. So you can buy the essences there, but you also can just read. It's for free. It's for free. You can read,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, do a little bit of work with you, and starting with you. And then you will discover a huge world. So that then it can accompany, of course, your journey throughout all the different changes and issues that we all have. It's an extra support that, as you said before, even if you don't believe it, it works. Yes,
it definitely does.
Yeah.
Yes, it definitely does.
And how can people contact you? Where can people find you to work with you?
Well, usually I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on Instagram, and they're probably my main two ways of kind of people get in touch with me.
Yes,
and
Instagram. Which
Facebook.
one is the name of the account? Or
so on Instagram, I'm Maria Doherty .flower essences. So that's probably the easiest.
Yeah.
And then I'm Maria Doherty on Facebook, but I also have a business page that's called Empowering Sensitive Children. So so either via Facebook Messenger or through the Instagram would probably be
And do you
easiest.
just work in person or also online?
I do both.
course.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And actually nowadays I find it's mainly online work.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. People, it's funny. I think people have gotten used, since we had lockdown and all of that, people got used to doing online work. But,
Yeah, I mean, if you're not based in Edinburgh, I can understand. But if you are here, why? I mean,
some people are just
a lack of, time
I think it's time for people. Yeah. I think
Yeah, but that's, I'm saying that because I'm a busy person.
Yes.
But if you're taking the time for yourself and you're not making the time for a session, of course it's better also for you instead of having people coming to your place, and it's less time consuming, but still.
It really and truly, probably it's the same amount of time. It isn't any less time consuming online or in person, because you still have to do the preparation. You're reading the person's consultation form. You're tuning into what they might need. You're doing the session. Then you have to put everything away.
Show the card.
And then you show them the card, send them the So actually, time wise, it's the same. Okay. I would say it's the same. But I think some people have just gotten into the habit of being used to doing online. Yeah.
And some other don't want to do the online anymore.
Yes. Yeah. And obviously when I do the work for the charity, I do work for Vocal, the carers charity, that's in person, because we actually have a session where we talk about essences and then they choose a blend for themselves. So that's much more interactive, where they're actually, interactive, hands-on. Yeah.
And when you do that on a group level, how does it work in terms of because it's not personalized?
Well, it is personalized because it's what they're drawn to or what they need. So I always say I don't have any more than 10, and usually, just with the situation, often maybe 6 turn up or 7 turn up, because often with carers, things happen at the last minute. Yeah. And I find we do it over 2 hours. So I do an introduction, a presentation, and talk about essences in general and show them specific ones, show them the pictures of the flowers. And so I mainly do the flowers in the presentation. Then I have all the pictures out afterwards, and then they go around, and then I say, they can say to me, I would like an essence that'll help with confidence or grief, or maybe something like clarity, or being more decisive, whatever. They can have that chat with me, or I will say to them, if you want to just tune in and see what you're drawn to. What I often find is they say, I've got this and this, Maria, can you tell me what this is for? And then I tell them what it's for, and they're saying, that's perfect. That's just exactly what I need. So actually you have to kind of trust and let go a little bit, and rather than feeling that you have to give loads of information about this essence is for this and this essence is for that. And the person, like we said at the beginning, your heart knows, your body knows what it needs, and then I emphasize that, and it always works out being exactly what they're needing. When I read out and say, this is what it is for, this is what it helps balance, they say, yes, that's what I need.
It's absolutely perfectly aligned with what I have. We know.
Yeah.
We know. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure to have you, and just to get an introduction into your world of essences. Now I have to stop you to call you the Lady of Flowers, the world of essences in general. So it's really been a pleasure. Thanks so much. And I will leave all the details then below for people to contact you and to find you. So thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you
so much.
You're very welcome, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about the world of flower and vibrational essences.
And I hope to have you for a workshop in the center.
Oh, lovely. I'd love to do that.
I'm sure it will be popular.
Yeah, that'd be fabulous.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.